ladies, let's talk Cinco de Mayo. Okay, it's coming up this weekend. What are we going to order? What are we going to make sure that we do to stay on track with your calorie deficit? Because balance is key, but balance does not mean chaos. All right, balance means we're going in with a game plan. Balance means we are, yes, balancing what we want to eat and what we want to do versus what the greater overall discipline cause is, right? The goal is to lose body fat. So obviously, we got to go in with a game plan. What's up, ladies? Thanks for joining. So let us begin with, first of all, I always recommend the go-to to be fajitas. This is because you can always control the amount that's going into the specific little wrap, and you can control what's going into your mouth at a given time. So with fajitas, what's going to be nice is you can do grilled chicken, grilled shrimp, I think are probably the better two options for you to choose from versus a beef or steak option because they're going to be leaner. That means less calories will come from fats. So ideally, that's great. Technically, like steak fajitas and carne asada is going to be a good option, but what I would avoid is something like a carnitas taco or a taco that's kind of really fatty meat. So fajitas are going to be great. Hi, James. Hey, Allison. What I would say is load it up with the veggies, load it up with the things that are going to have a lot of flavor, but they're not necessarily going to add a lot of calories. So instead of your queso, instead of your sour cream, the veggies, the peppers, onions, lettuce, pico, all that good stuff. Now, that's not to say you have to 100% not have your sour cream and queso, but what I would say is remember that we want to get the majority of your calories from protein and fiber-based things versus getting the majority of your calories from fat, because that's not going to serve us on this fat loss journey. Remember, dietary fat and body fat are two different things, but ultimately we want to make sure we're getting more protein than anything else, and lean is going to be the way to go. So if you are going to get some cheese and sour cream, put it on the side, and that way you can really control what is going to be in there. Also, let's make sure that you're using the hand sizing method here. So with the hand sizing method, that means we are looking at utilizing your hand, shocker, as the size. So your serving of protein, right? Your serving of rice, your serving of vegetables, okay? Let's make sure that we are in a good spot. Hi, Tracy. And I just want to go ahead and address in the comments, no one is showing anybody's feet. And let's keep this professional, okay? This is for the girls to help the girls, okay? Cool. So, also, with your tortilla choices, your corn tortillas are going to be a better decision than a flour tortilla. Typically, your corn tortillas will have 200 calories. Your flour tortillas will have somewhere between 300 to 400, and you're going to have a lot more fiber in your corn tortilla than you will from your flour. And Lisa, hey, yes, I will be saving this. This will be posted. All of my lives will be posted to the as a reel to the main feed. So you can always access this later and at any time. And I'll also be sending out a newsletter with more information too. If you do have questions, pop them in here and we will address them at the end. And James, I did see your question. I will touch on that in a bit. So remember with your tortillas, babe, like chips and salsa, right? Chips and salsa is going to happen. I've been to a Mexican restaurant before. Remember that chips are just fried, sliced tortillas. Think about it this way. If we're being conservative, a tortilla chip is going to be maybe an eighth. Let's just even call it an eighth of your tortilla. Okay. That means 8 chips is the equivalent of eating a tortilla. Are you going to go out and are you going to eat 4 tortillas before you eat your entire meal? Probably not. I will not be doing that. So put that into perspective when you're thinking about, are you going to eat 4 fried tortillas before your meal, or will you have maybe a tortilla and then save those calories for your meal? Because I promise you, if you're patient, drink your water, it's going to be just fine. What I recommend with your chips and salsa is make sure that you are putting the chips onto a separate plate. That's your serving. That's what you're going to have for the day instead of reaching for the basket, which again is probably unlimited and constantly getting refilled. So put it on the plate. Once that's done, you're done. Or once that's done, wait 10 minutes, have some water. And if you still want some and your meal hasn't come yet, then you can make an educated decision. Just remember, everything has consequences, my darling. So, cool. Where are we? Where are we? Okay, we're good on the food. Let's talk about the bevies. I don't personally drink alcohol all that much unless it's a special occasion or whatever. But I live in the real world, and I know you do. So here's what I would recommend. Rather than your full-fledged margarita, I would order a skinny margarita. That is going to remove some of the liqueur, some of the sweet and sour, the mixers. I was never a bartender. I don't know. The stuff in there, right? Your skinny marg is going to have a lot less calories. I would also recommend doing the, I don't know, the liquid. They're both liquid, not the blended version, not a blended margarita. That's going to have a lot more stuff and sugar, most likely. So the other option other than a skinny marg would be like a ranch water, which is just a fancy term for tequila, soda water, and lime. Delicious. The other thing to consider here, I would never recommend tonic water literally ever at any time. Oh, bye, James. Sorry, I didn't get to answer your question. I'll answer it here in a bit. Tonic water has 30 grams of sugar in one single can of tonic water. And in any mixed drink, you'll probably have a third of that. That's way too much sugar from a mix in, okay? Let's get our sugar from somewhere else, like natural sources, like fructose, like fruit. So if you're doing mocktails, like I will likely be doing a mocktail, you can do soda water, you can do lime, maybe some tahini on the rim, maybe a splash of pineapple juice if you're feeling real fancy and festive. Coconut water is a great one to have as well. And if you're me, I will always be using my go-to of water, salt, lemon juice, and honey. Great electrolytes, especially if you're going to have meals at home. So, also for your alcohol, please make sure that you are having 8 ounces of water between every alcoholic drink. You will thank yourself later. It's going to help you a lot. And eat before you drink. My recommendation, like picture this. You go and you order margs, and then you sit there and you eat your chips and salsa, and your food hasn't come yet, and you're feeling a little tipsy from your marg. The self-control is just gone. You know what I mean? You get a little tipsy and all of a sudden 63 chips sounds excellent. So I would recommend no alcohol on an empty stomach literally ever, but especially not in a fat loss scenario because it's just not going to help you. Also, just so you know, in case I haven't said this enough, alcohol is a toxin. So as long as alcohol is in your system, your body will be focused on removing the toxin from your body instead of burning bodily fat and stored fat. So you literally are not burning fat if you have alcohol in your system. That's why I don't drink it. That's why I don't recommend. It's a toxin. Anyway, I digress. So here's the thing though. Once you do all of this, you are probably going to weigh more. Water retention is a huge thing that comes from excess carbohydrates, sodium, alcohol, and probably a late night meal. All those things are going to cause water retention. So when you weigh more after this meal, you did not put on a pound of body fat, especially not 5 pounds of body fat for some of you. It's literally not, it doesn't work that way. It can't happen that way overnight. Inhale, exhale. It's going to be okay. What you can do, I would still get yourself on the scale. Weigh yourself like me and my clients weigh in every single day. That's what I recommend because then we can see the trends and then you can build an expectation because it's just data. It's not your worth as a human being. It's just the force of gravity. That's it. So weigh yourself, understand what happened, and that way we can kind of learn from it. Drinking water, drink your electrolytes. Again, water, lemon, salt, honey, great electrolyte mix. Please don't starve yourself the next few days, even if you went over on your calories. Don't do that. Just return to eating normally. And you don't need to bank calories throughout the day as starvation. What I would say for this is rather than literally not eating anything all day, if you know you're going to have more carbs and fat at your dinner because it's going to be chips and you're going out to eat, then just change your breakfast and lunch a little bit. So if you typically have 3 whole eggs, maybe do 1 egg and egg whites for the rest. That way you're removing a little bit of the fat and calories and you can bank those for later, but you're still getting protein and you're still feeling satiated so you don't show up to dinner like losing your effing mind. Yeah? So also then make sure you're reflecting. Did you enjoy it? Did you have a good time? How do you feel about the meal you had? Did you enjoy the social time spent with others? The answer is yes. Great. Nice work. You did a good job. If not, maybe let's do something different next time. It's not the end of the world. You're going to be okay. Keep the main thing. Ultimately, this one meal is not going to impact your entire fat loss journey. It's just not. What matters most is the habits that you typically have consistently. So enjoy your tacos, enjoy your margaritas, but don't show up starving and dehydrated. Okay? So let us go through some of the questions. James had asked, I have really small hands. Does that mean my protein is also going to be lower? Oh, that's so funny. That's a really good question, and I don't know the answer to that. I would say it's pretty averaged anyway, and what we're doing with our hands is really an estimate anyway. Like typically our palm size is going to be 3 to 4 ounces of chicken, let's say. So if you have smaller hands, you might, I guess, I don't know, get a little bit less, but that's a hilarious question. What I would recommend is just consistently make sure that you're getting leaner protein sources. Any other questions in here? And for those who are just joining, hi Laura. And hey, what's up, gang? Anyone who just joined, we just discussed and literally we went through the whole thing. We're done. I'm just doing a Q&A at this point. About Cinco de Mayo, what are we ordering for food? And I'll just give a summary. Why not? Fajitas are a good go-to. Lean chicken or shrimp tacos are a go-to. Pico, all that good stuff loaded up on the veggies, sauces on the side, cheese on the side, all of that good stuff. Margs, do a skinny marg or do a ranch water, which is just tequila, lime, and soda water. Very simple. Mocktails, just do water. Make sure you're having a water between every alcoholic drink. And then the other thing is just, don't go insane. It's going to be okay. Allison, I usually do 5 ounces of protein. Do you think that's too much because I'm trying to be in a deficit? No, I do not. And that is a really great question. So the question is, if we're doing 5 ounces of protein, is that going to be too much if you're in a deficit? Here's what I want you to really remember. When we are in a calorie deficit, remember that it is a calorie deficit. So at the end of the day, the thing that is going to matter the most is the amount of calories. Calories will come from your protein, your carbs, or your fats. Calories from protein and carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. Calories from fats are 9 calories per gram. So think about it this way. If you have a nutrition facts label and you have 10 grams of carbs, 10 grams of fat, and 10 grams of protein, 40 calories are going to come from your protein and carbs, and 90 calories are going to come from your fats. Think about it that way. So when we're talking about staying in your deficit, it's going to matter calories more than your macro split. However, because we're trying to lose body fat and get toned, which is losing body fat and building muscle, we're going to want to make sure that your protein, typically the good split is the percentage of calories should be 30% of your calories coming from protein, 30% from fats, and 40% from carbohydrates. So, long-winded answer. But if you're getting 5 ounces of your protein source in every meal, what's going to matter more is what type of protein source is it than is it 5 ounces. Ultimately, if you're doing let's even just compare ground beef as a whole. 83-17, so 83% lean, 17% fat versus 93% lean, 7% fat. Those are going to have completely different macros. You're probably going to get more calories out of the fattier meat, if we're honest, because more calories come from fat. But let's just pretend. The thing to keep in mind is you want to make sure you're hitting your protein goal. So all of your protein, literally, it's so funny to me. Your protein goal, the reason why we need protein is because we want to restore, replenish, and rebuild, and it keeps you satiated, right? So with your protein, you want to hit a protein goal throughout the day, typically 1 gram per pound of body weight or goal body weight. And that is going to be the amount that's going to help you replenish. So the serving sizes on nutrition facts labels are not the law. They are simply a recommendation based on what they think most people will get. So if it's prescribing, right, your nutrition facts label says 3 ounces of ground beef and you put 5, you're not going to die. You're not going to automatically gain weight and lose out. What's going to happen is you're going to get more protein, which is probably going to be better for you. So it'd be better for you to be doing 5 ounces of turkey breast or chicken breast versus, let's say, 5 ounces of ham, because you're going to get a lot more fat versus protein from that. So rather than being worried about is 5 ounces an okay amount, how many grams of protein is coming from the 5 ounces and how many calories is coming from the 5 ounces. That would be a much better way to think about it. Allison, if you have more questions, feel free to ask a follow-up question. I hope that was helpful. Laura says, I'm so uninspired with food right now. Yeah, I feel that, sister. It's so hard. You're welcome, Allison. And so here's actually something that I just went over with my clients. I just went through the master food planner and foods list. And in here, it's an Excel spreadsheet. And I actually have a post on my feed, I think like maybe 3 days ago. It was Wednesday, 2 days ago. Screenshot those because it's a list of typical foods you can use. And then you can just kind of mix and match. So you can go, okay, what protein sounds good today? Turkey? Okay, I could get down with that. And the other thing that I just thought about that could be kind of fun is you could assign a type of food to a dice. And so you can like roll the dice and make a meal out of it. So like if you roll a 6, that equates to chicken breast. If you roll a 5, that equates to sweet potato, whatever. And you can roll and it can make a meal for you. That could be kind of fun. Okay. Katie Beasley, what's up, my girl? How do you feel about electrolyte drink mixes? That's a great question. How do I feel about it? I feel like it's unnecessary if you have access to general electrolytes. Electrolytes are, when we're talking about electrolytes, let me back up. These are the things that are going to help keep you hydrated, and essentially it's sodium and potassium. And so what's happening with your electrolytes is it's helping to keep you hydrated and help your brain function. And so like if you have water, sea salt, lemon, and honey, you don't need an electrolyte drink mix. But if you feel like you're really dehydrated and you struggle to get in water, and maybe like you just hate the way that tastes and you're struggling to get in your electrolytes, salt, potassium, like if you don't eat a banana and you don't eat salt every day, sure, maybe it's necessary. And maybe it's something like if and I'm talking generally here because if you are like a performance-based athlete that specifically needs more electrolytes than you can get in that simple serving, yes, I think that could be beneficial. If you're a bodybuilder, absolutely, that could be beneficial. But for the average human being who's just trying to lose body fat, build muscle, we're not like in the gym for 5 hours a day, and you're not running a marathon, you don't really need it. If you're a marathon runner, sure, an electrolyte drink mix is probably advantageous to have while you're out to make sure your muscles stay hydrated so you can perform better. But like I say with everything, getting things from your diet is going to be the best way to get your micronutrients, your electrolytes, and your macros versus supplement. Remember, the word supplement is like in addition to, so or in place of. So get it from food before you supplement because supplements are meant to supplement an absence of it in the diet. That was a really long answer, Katie. I hope that was helpful. Okay. Let's do maybe one more question. If anybody has a question on anything, really, we talked about Cinco de Mayo. We've talked about protein sizes and electrolytes. So I'm down to answer any other questions. We've got probably 1 more minute. So let the countdown begin. If you don't know me, my name is Coach Samantha, SammyLee.fit, obviously, on Instagram. I help busy professional women build muscle, get toned, lose body fat without all the BS and without losing their minds. Sustainably, right? If it's a quick fix, it's not going to last. Sorry, not sorry. Cool. I think that's all we've got. Ladies and a few gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. Hey, what's up, Andre? I'm sorry, we're literally just hopping off. But before we go, Andre, any questions about Cinco de Mayo recommendations? Ooh, okay. Lisa just asked, how about the protein being with a small hand? Yeah, I answered that earlier, and I really don't know the answer to that question. Like the thing is, I'm thinking through this out loud. If you have small hands, are they like really proportionally small hands or are they like really unproportionally small hands? Because if you have small hands but you're also a smaller human being, it's probably going to be correlated to the size of your stomach, the size of the nutrients that you need, right? So I don't know. The other thing that I had talked about earlier with that too is because you are only estimating, when we're using the hand, like the whole point is to just have a visual estimate. It's not going to be 100% accurate. So, I mean, if you have like microscopic baby hands for some reason, I don't know, then yeah, maybe get a little bit more than the palm size. But ultimately, what's going to be more important is this is why tracking can be really helpful. Is what you can do then is compare. You're welcome, Lisa. You can compare to your hand size to what you measure out. So get your scale out, put in 4 ounces, and then look at the size of your hand. And if it's the same, then you're fine. And if it's not the same, then you know you need more. And everybody's going to be different. So that's what I would say about that. But cool. All right, home dogs. I hope this was helpful. And Andre, I love getting to coach the ladies. I'm very grateful people even show up. So cool. Yay. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good weekend. Let's be safe. Let's stay on track. Let's stay disciplined, and I'll see you soon. Bye.